Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're wading into the fast-flowing river of AI developments.
Absolutely. It feels like it changes daily.
Right. You've shared a whole stack of recent news research, announcements, all sorts.
Yeah, quite a mix.
So our mission today is basically to pull out the key threads, make sense of the current direction and, well, what it might mean down the line.
Exactly. Try to see the bigger picture without getting lost in every single headline. We want to give you that perspective.
Okay, let's jump in. Starting with the core tech, the models themselves. It really does feel like a constant arms race, doesn't it, in terms of power, benchmarks.
That's a good way to put it, an arms race. And what's striking is how it's happening on so many fronts at once. Take OpenAI's image generation API, GPT Image 1.
Right, the new controls.
Yeah, the controls for moderation, quality versus speed, output format, it gives developers way more fine-grained control.
Which is crucial, right? It's not just can it make an image, but can it make the specific image you need reliably, maybe even cheaper?
Precisely. Tailoring it to the actual application. And then you look at something like the Arena leaderboard.
Yeah, I saw those updates.
So
O3 doing really well across the board, style, math, coding, even those tricky hard prompts.
And O4 Mini popping up strong in math.
Yeah.
It points towards maybe a bit more specialization happening.
Seems like it. It's not just one model trying to be the best at everything. And GPT 4.1 is still right up there, of course.
Still a powerhouse. But yeah, maybe we're seeing a push for efficiency too, models that excel in certain areas, plus OpenAI opening up that deep research access.
Oh yeah, to plus users, Team, Pro, even a lighter version for free users.
And increasing the rate limits. That's a big step towards, getting these tools into more hands.
Wider access could really spark more innovation, couldn't it? Makes sense. Now, it's not just OpenAI, obviously. NVIDIA is stepping in with DAM
Describe anything model. Yeah, a 3 billion parameter vision language model.
and releasing it open source on Hugging Face with the data and benchmark. That feels significant.
It really is. NVIDIA entering the VLM space like that and openly. It definitely heats up the competition and helps the whole open access movement. More eyes on the tech.
Good point. And then shifting gears a bit, but still, model development, Google DeepMind, enhancing their music AI sandbox.
Powered by Lyria too. Yeah. They're talking about more advanced creation, like extending tracks, editing, much more sophisticated stuff.
So moving beyond just like basic AI jingles, more towards real creative tools.
Seems that way. More like a partner for musicians, helping them shape their ideas in complex ways. Augmenting creativity, perhaps.
Interesting. And Anthropic's research, this idea that models might have their own experiences,
Yeah.
that's quite something.
It's definitely out there, philosophically speaking. But as these systems get more complex, understanding their internal workings, whatever you want to call them, becomes really important for safety, for alignment.
Raises some fundamental questions for sure. Okay, let's pivot to the hardware, the infrastructure side. Epoch AI research looked at what, over 500 AI supercomputers?
Yeah, and found some pretty stark trends. Performance doubling roughly every 9 months.
9 months. The speed is just, wow.
Incredible compute power growth. But the flip side is cost and power usage are doubling basically every year.
Right. So faster and more powerful, but hugely expensive and power hungry. That raises questions about who can actually afford to play at the cutting edge long term.
Exactly. And the finding that the U.S. has most of the current capacity, but it's mainly in the private sector, well, that has obvious geopolitical and economic implications, doesn't it?
For sure. Who controls the compute? Definitely one to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, on the more practical application side, making models useful, Llama Index integrating with Milvus.
Yeah, for full text search, BM25 within RAG pipelines, so hybrid search.
Making retrieval augmented generation better, basically, combining different ways to find the right info.
Exactly. RAG is super important for grounding LLMs in real data. Hybrid search just makes that retrieval more robust, finding relevant stuff even if the keywords aren't a perfect match.
Gotcha. And lastly in this section, a new reasoning benchmark, where Gemini 2.5 Pro is apparently leading for now.
Right. It highlights that constant push to actually measure reasoning ability, which is notoriously hard. New benchmarks mean we're trying to get better at evaluating how well these things actually, well, think.
Okay, so models are getting seriously powerful. Let's shift to how people are building with them. This whole area of agentic workflows and tooling seems to be exploding.
It really is moving beyond just chatbots to systems that can actually do things, plan, act, achieve goals.
Like Perplexity getting integrated into Motorola phones via Pro. And launching that iOS voice assistant.
Prime examples. Embedding that kind of AI assistance right into the devices we use every day, making it more seamless.
Less like opening an app, more like it's just there. And then you've got Andrew Ng and Hugging Face putting out a course on building code agents.
Using small agents, yeah. That's all about democratizing the creation of these agents specifically for coding tasks.
Making it easier for developers to build their own little AI coding helpers could be huge for productivity.
Potentially, yeah. And Jerry Liu outlining that reference architecture for agentic document workflows, ADW.
That sounds like bringing some structure to the chaos, especially for complex document stuff.
Exactly. When you're building complex systems with multiple agents interacting, you need a solid blueprint. His work provides a kind of standard way to think about designing those.
And speaking of tools, a new open source IDE, specifically for multi-agent systems, built on the OpenAI Agents SDK.
Yeah, that signals things are getting serious, right? Purpose-built tools for developers working on these collaborative AI systems. It's maturing.
And we're seeing actual companies using this stuff. LangChain being used at Uber for automating unit tests.
And at Webtoon for narrative understanding. These aren't just lab experiments anymore.
Real-world applications delivering value. Automating testing at Uber, that saves developer time. Better narrative understanding at Webtoon, that could mean better content recommendations or something.
Could be. Richer user experiences, definitely. Now, on the safety side, which is crucial for agents, Technium releasing Minos.
The classifier for detecting refusal in chat responses.
Yeah, trying to make sure the AI doesn't just shut down or give unhelpful refusals, especially against tricky prompts, building more robust, reliable agents.
Important piece of the puzzle. And finally here, this SUPNO cohort focusing on MLOps and LLM system design.
It just highlights that it's not just about the cool model. You need the whole engineering infrastructure MLOps to actually build, deploy, and maintain these things properly.
Right, the operational side is becoming critical. You can't just throw a model over the wall.
Not if you want it to work reliably in the real world, no. That expertise is really in demand now.
Okay, so models are advancing, the tools to build agents are maturing.
Yeah.
How is this actually changing the industry? The business side, the competition.
Well, you hear Aravind Srinivas from Perplexity talking pretty openly about taking on Google in the Android ecosystem. That's a direct challenge to a giant.
Shows how the information retrieval game is changing, right? AI assistance versus traditional search.
Definitely. And then you see reports, like from Stephanie Palazzolo at OpenAI, about increased projections, driven by agents and finding ways to monetize free users.
Free user monetization. Always the interesting part. It suggests agents aren't just cool tech, they're seen as a real business driver.
Exactly. And finding ways to make the free tier valuable, perhaps through ads or partnerships powered by agents, seems key to their growth strategy.
Then there's Chris Latner's point about hardware companies building AI software.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Right. He highlights the challenges. Just because you make great chips doesn't mean you automatically build a great software ecosystem around them. It's a different skill set, a different kind of complexity.
You need the whole package hardware and the software tools to actually use it effectively.
Precisely. And Andrew Ng's comment about programming languages may be becoming less critical.
Because AI can do more of the routine coding.
Yeah, the idea is AI becomes more of a collaborator, handling the boilerplate, maybe translating between languages, letting developers focus on the bigger picture, the architecture, the hard problems.
Could really shift what skills are most valuable for programmers down the line. And Yoshua Bengio weighing in on AI safety legislation, like SB 813.
Suggesting improvements, yeah. It shows that top researchers are actively engaged in trying to shape responsible policy. It's not just happening in isolation.
That dialogue between researchers and policymakers is vital, isn't it? Especially with tech moving this fast.
Absolutely essential for navigating the risks and benefits.
Okay, let's zoom out one last time. The global picture. AI isn't just a Silicon Valley story anymore, is it?
Far from it.
Yeah.
That statistic about China now having more top AI research leaders, 11 versus 4 in the US, according to that source, that's a major indicator of shifting talent distribution.
A real shift in research leadership globally.
Yeah.
And then the discussion points about U.S. reliance on Chinese labor in some areas and CCP policies.
Yeah, it brings up the complex web of global dependencies in the supply chain and talent flow, and how national strategies influence the whole ecosystem. It's tangled.
Definitely not simple.
Yeah.
And mentioning specific companies like DeepSeek in China.
Right. Just highlights the fact that there are very capable AI companies emerging and competing globally now. It's not a monolithic landscape.
Growing capabilities and competition from multiple regions, which leads to the suggestion that maybe more top ML conferences should actually be held in Asia.
It reflects where a lot of the cutting-edge research and development is happening now. A geographical shift, maybe, in the center of AI gravity, making it truly global.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Wow. So to quickly recap, we've seen huge leaps in models, the rise of agents and the tools to build them, big shifts in industry dynamics and business models, and this increasingly global, complex geopolitical picture for AI.
It's a lot, but you can see the threads connecting, right? Faster models enable better agents, which drives new business models and competition, all happening on this global stage with significant resource implications.
Absolutely. Which brings us to that final thought for you, the listener. Considering all this, the insane growth in compute, the smarter agents, the global race,
Yeah.
what new things become possible? Or what weird challenges pop up that we just weren't thinking about even a year or two ago?
Yeah, what are those second-order effects, the unexpected consequences of all this rapid change that maybe we should be paying more attention to? Feels like the ground is constantly shifting under our feet.
Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for diving deep with us today.